Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us on Third Shot Podcast. If you haven't already, don't forget to hit that subscribe or follow button so that you don't miss one of our amazing episodes. We have Uncle Greg and Russ here. How you guys doing?
I am.
I'm doing good. How about you, Greg?
We better take a shot. Yeah. Little hesitation on
We
my
better take a
answer
shot.
there.
We better take a shot before we hear this story.
Ooh, shot time.
Shot music. I love it. Cheers. Ooh.
That was an accident, but okay.
Well,
yeah.
Anybody that's
How's it
had
going?
their account hacked before can, get what's going on in my life right now. My account got hacked. And it's my pickleball account. It's my Uncle Greg on the Instagram account, and it got hacked, and it's been a pain trying to recover this. But I'm trying to put that behind me. I'm trying not to let that influence the joy of this show, because this brings me joy.
Yes. So you're saying you didn't actually buy a new house with Bitcoins
Or a car?
something?
I didn't or a car. Everybody's texting me offline going, "Hey, what's up with this?" And everybody can tell this is not me, and I totally got hacked, but they're having fun with me with it. But I can't get my darn account back. It's driving me nuts.
It's like that. It's like that icky feeling, right? Of like you've been invaded, something of yours has been stolen. It's
well,
right.
It makes you paranoid.
Yeah.
Yeah, because what else did they get a hold of?
Or
everything's online.
You're worried about clicking on anything. Like, am I giving somebody access if I click this? Or it's an awful feeling. But on a brighter note,
yes, you've got some good news.
I do have some good news. I've been trying to join this pickleball club in my town for, I think, probably 9 months. And there's a waiting list it was a mile long when I tried to join. Well, I finally got notified yesterday that I'm in. My number finally got called.
Awesome, but you have to sign in via Instagram is the problem.
Well, it's actually worse than that. They have an app that I was signed up for, but because of this hacking situation, I cannot log into the app.
Okay, well, that's
but
good.
I know I'm in. They texted me, I'm good, and it's a really cool club. It's only about 5 minutes away. The courts are only 5 minutes away from my house. Really convenient. I've played with a number of players. In fact, Bridgie and I played against some of these players in the tournament in San Ramon.
Oh, yeah. That's good competition then.
Good competition. I'm looking forward to it. It's a large group, so I'm guessing there's going to be kind of a large rotation of players that I'm going to get a chance to play against and meet, and that's really what I'm looking for. Is to have
dog's
that
excited about
variety,
it too.
And my dog is pumped up. He's so excited right now that I got into the club.
Yeah.
He's going, "All right, Daddy, you did it. You're in."
Oh man, yeah.
I do have a question though for you. In golf, and everybody knows I'm a golfer, right? And I've resisted about joining a country club because my concern is that I'm going to get tired of playing the same golf course over and over and over again. Right? And I just wonder, does that relate to pickleball? If you're in a club with the same members and you're playing the same people over and over again, does your game kind of get stagnant to a certain extent? Or do you all level up together? How does that work? I've never experienced it in pickleball before. What do you guys think?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. And I don't even know if I have the right answer or a solid answer for you, but I would think getting a variety of players would enhance your game just because it exposes you to different strategies. Because if you're playing against the same people, I would think that you would start kind of learning their game a little bit, which doesn't allow for other opportunities of learning how other people play. But that doesn't mean you're not going to get better. Because like you said, if everybody's playing their hardest and trying super hard and it gets really competitive, if you've got that type of bunch you're playing against, then I think everybody's just going to start getting increasingly better at the same
Yeah.
rate. Well, I would hope.
I think so. That's what my hope is, and I'm hoping that's going to happen because in golf, the golf course is one thing, right? That's not going to change.
Hmm.
But players can change, and players can kind of change their styles and change their technique and change their skill levels. So I'm thinking that's what's going to happen. And this club is pretty large. I think there's over 200 members, so
Nice.
there's going to be
Oh,
plenty of people to
wow.
play out. But I
Yeah, I
want
was
to
going
ask
to
you,
ask.
Russ, because little fun fact about Russ is he is very, very good at live improv.
I don't know if I'd say very,
Ooh.
very. Maybe just
Yeah.
one very in there. I don't know. I don't know. I mean,
Okay, one very.
yeah.
In
He's your,
all caps.
or maybe just so.
It
No,
actually
he's
varies.
you're
That's the
very
thing.
good.
It's not if I'm good or not.
But the question I have for you is when you're doing improv, does your skill level change if
Yeah.
you try different groups out and you're working with different people versus the same group every single week? Because I know
Well, see,
you're
actually,
part of a
that's
club as well.
you segged perfectly into what I was going to say is because, like, with improv, I'm playing with the same people, so I get that sense of comfort, right? But can I actually level up? Can I
Mm-hmm.
get to the next level? Because we're all in that same, level of comfort. And it's like I know where somebody else is going to fail. I know where I'm going to fail. I know the people that I would really like to play with and do a certain type of scene with, and then I know the people that I'm not going to do that because this is going to happen. This is going to go wrong. That's going to go wrong. Whatever. So it's like I'm mathing these things out in my head and like playing out these scenarios before I actually do a scene. And so it's like it's almost getting into my head too much sometimes, but it's nice to play with the same people. But I'm wondering sometimes that if I went and I did a class somewhere else and I got with another group, if I would learn different skills and if I would actually get better. So that's where my concern, even with this, would be is you're playing against the same people over and over. I like that it's just about pickleball. Like that's cool. But like, are you gonna, just like get into a routine and is it going to hurt you from going and playing other people? Like that's what I would be concerned about too. Like, are you going to want to go play somewhere else? Well, you got your home court. Let me just go there. So I don't know. I would say as
Mm-hmm.
long as you're like, I guess, continuously, being adventurous and going to other places and doing other things, I think that would be a win for you.
How does it work for you in improv when somebody new joins the group?
We just had somebody new that joined the group, and first of all, like she's fantastic at improv. Like I'm like, oh shoot, like should I even be doing this? Like she's so good and so quick and so funny. Um, it it makes it where there does like kind of bring in this new sense of like, okay, well, this is fun. Like, what can I do with this person? Like, what can our scenes be? Like, what can we do? How do I compliment her? Like, how do I, how do we work together to make a scene really good? It's kind of like a job, like when somebody new starts and then you get all these new ideas coming in and you get all these new, different, just, I don't know, different energy coming in. It's kind of cool. So like, yeah, and I guess that'll be you right now, right? Like you're the new guy going in, meeting all these people.
Yeah.
Exactly.
He's going to bring the energy.
I'm gonna bring,
Yeah, you are.
bring the fire. I'll light some people up. No, that is not me on a pickleball court. That is,
Right.
let's have some fun. That's good. What about you, Bridgie? When you play with somebody new that you've never played with, is that more fun for you, or do you like having the comfort of playing with people that you played with a number of times?
I think I like both. I really enjoy playing with someone that I'm comfortable with because then there's not that awkward, like, let me get to know how this person plays so that we can cover the court together. Where, like, when you and I play, because we've played so frequently with one another, it's a lot less thinking as to like positioning
Mm-hmm.
and strategy. Whereas with a new person, I mean, it's good because then it kind of like sparks those ideas in your head on like, oh, maybe that's something I could incorporate into my game. And it is exciting just to get to know another pickleball player and learn how they play their game. So I think both has its advantage.
Yeah. I think initially, and I mean, like I said, there's so many people in this group that I think it's going to be pretty fresh and new for me for a very long time. So I'm really excited if I could ever get into my app and figure out how to get there.
Yeah. We're keeping our fingers crossed so you can get
Hopefully by the
everything
time this
situated.
episode
That's
runs,
horrible.
all is good. Yeah. Let's hope
Yeah.
for that.
Yes. Hey, little throwback action here. We haven't done a learning more segment with Russ actually asking a learning more question
Oh wow,
in a long
I'm so
time.
unprepared for this actually, but I guess the question has to be, Greg, what was your password? Was it 123? Yeah, way too soon.
Too soon.
No, it was Russ's.
No, actually, so you know what? I do have a question because a little follow up on what you're doing here. Okay, so the court's going to be the same. The people, like you're going to get kind of in a routine, probably playing against the same people a bunch. Will you always use the same paddles, or are you going to switch up paddles? And like what's going to be your tactic there? Will you have a paddle per person? Like, oh, this is my whatever paddle person.
Ooh.
Like how are you going to do this?
I like that idea.
No, I'm not. I'm going to switch paddles. I'm going to keep it really like they keep them guessing. Oh, like what paddle is Greg going to play? Is that a power paddle? Is that a touch paddle? What, I'm gonna keep them on their toes.
I like
That's what I'm bringing to the club.
Yes. See the excitement. He's bringing it already.
I like
That's
it.
Right. and if you could share some of your improv skills with me, I'm going to bring a few laughs with me.
We'll see if I could do that. I've got to. I feel like I'm still. We talked about my trip to Italy last week. I'm still jet lagged, so I don't know if I'm going to be very funny right now. Very entertaining at improv. I'm debating on even going over the next couple of weeks. It's like let me just sleep. That's what I want to do right now. Exactly.
Ease back into your routine.
Exactly.
Right?
Okay. Well, so there's my learning more question and my little update. What's happening today on this here podcast?
Well, we have Dr. Taylor Lau, and he is a physical therapist with the Orthopedic Rehabilitation Specialists in Hawaii. And a little connection with Bridgie that they used to know each other back at UNLV days. And it's going to be really fun to kind of reminisce with Dr. Lau and have him give us some advice on how we can stay on the courts.
Listen up, pickleball people. You can't slay on the court and look sloppy at the same time.
Thank goodness for pickleball athlete and their sweet styles.
Whether you want long sleeves, no sleeves, or funky and fun prints, Pickleball Athlete has got you covered.
Their selection is perfect for the super serious players or the jokers out there. And they don't just stop at clothes either.
Check out their awesome accessories that would make fabulous gifts for your favorite player. Or for yourself, let's be real.
And hey, you get to feel good about supporting a small business too. Find them at pickleballathlete.com.
Be sure to also follow on Facebook and Instagram.
Welcome back to Third Shot. We appreciate all the support you've been showing us on social media. Please keep it coming. We love the feedback. We love the comments. We really love the likes. So, keep those coming especially. But Bridgie and I are really, really excited to have Dr. Taylor Lau, physical therapist with the Orthopedic Rehabilitation Specialists. Aloha, Taylor. How are you?
Hi. Thanks for having me on the podcast. Super excited to be here.
We're super excited to have you. Before we get into it, though, it's time for our shots. They have their soju ready.
Yeah,
cheers,
we do.
Guys.
I got my soju drinking partner. That away, Dr. Lau.
Cheers.
Cheers.
So to give a little background on Taylor and I, because he's actually a friend from college. So back at UNLV, him and I met playing intramural sports. He's a great athlete. We played flag football. He was also really competitive in basketball. And now pickleball has been introduced into his life. And that's kind of how we restarted our friendship. We're friends on social media, and I saw that he was posting these great pickleball videos, kind of to help people with their bodies, because now he's in physical therapy. So Taylor, how did you even get started with pickleball? Because we didn't have that in intramurals.
Yeah, unfortunately, we didn't. I got started playing when I was doing one of my clinical rotations on Kauai. I was living with a good friend from UNLV, and his family played every Friday. So they asked me if I wanted to play one weekend, and I was like, sure, let's give it a try. And I just loved it from that first day that we started playing.
I'm guessing that the competition level in Hawaii, no matter whether you're in Kauai or in Oahu, because I think you've done time in both islands, it's got to be super strong because everywhere Bridgie and I go and we play against Islanders, they are super good. Whether it's in Vegas or in the Bay Area, they teach us lessons. Like
Yes, they
it never
dominate out
fails.
there.
It never fails. So, you're in Oahu now? What's the vibe like at the courts in Oahu?
It's really inviting. Everybody is, like you said, they're there to help you learn more about the game and get better at the game. I was just playing on Friday night, and it's kind of funny because we met these new guys, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I just started playing," real humble about it. And then we get on the court, and he's just like ripping serves, like smashing at the net. I was like, "You sure you just started?" But yeah, there's a lot of good competition, and seems like there's a lot of courts. The city's building more courts for us to play, so I see a lot of people playing now.
Yeah, you sure
Yeah,
he
that's
wasn't just
awesome.
sandbagging you?
I think so. He was downplaying that he just started, but then we were talking more, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I just played in a tournament," and I was like, I don't know if he really just started, but he was really good."
He just started
Yeah,
beating you that night, that's all.
right. He was hustling out there.
But it was good. After we played, like I think his serve was the fastest serve I've ever had to return, and he was giving us some pointers on, like, serving and stuff that he learned from someone else at a tournament. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and it seems like too in the pickleball community, like people are really helpful and willing to give that type of advice to kind of help out the people around them, get the beginners levels kind of up and make sure that they're also growing as players. So if I were to go to Hawaii, because that's always on my bucket list, where would be the best place to go to get some like open rec play and to meet some people, get some games going?
Um, so I've never been, but I've heard at Diamond Head Park, kind of near Waikiki, there's some really good competition out there, and they play more in the morning, like 7 to 11, because then it starts to get pretty warm. I mean, not like Vegas hot, but pretty hot from like 1 to 3. But yeah, like Diamond Head, um, out in town, Kahala area, there's some good pickup games that my friends go to all the time.
I
So
hope
we
Uncle's taking notes.
I am taking notes. I'm going to Maui though. So do you have any recommendations in Maui?
Shoot, I have never played on Maui yet.
All right. Well, I have a website that I went to and gave me some good recommendations over in Lahaina. So that's kind of the side of the island that I'm going to be at. So I'm looking forward to trying it
Oh,
out
nice.
there and some
Yeah.
pickup games in the morning. So before the family is ready to go and have lunch somewhere, I'm gonna, get my pickleball in the morning.
Yeah, that sounds like a good plan.
So I'm just curious, you being, in orthopedics, when you roll up to a court and you see people just kind of like rolling in, not stretching, not doing anything, they just start dinking and say, "Okay, I'm ready to go." What's going through your head? Are you like, "No way," or are they going to get injured, or what's going through your head?
Well, that's funny. Yeah, when I think everybody should have a good warm up, routine that they go through. I do see a lot of injuries of with my patients from pickleball, so a good warm up routine could help reduce the risk of that. But yeah, even my own family, they'll will be playing and they'll be like, "Oh, I'm kind of little bit tight today. And I'm like, you know what would be great if you did some stretches, maybe. So, but yeah, everybody, pickleball, it's a real tough sport. You're moving around a lot. So even though everyone thinks, oh yeah, anyone can play, whatever age, whatever physical ability, you definitely want to prepare your body to play, you know?
That's sound advice. And recently, I had met someone at the pickleball court who was telling me that he thinks, and he's not a doctor or anything of the sort, but he was like, I think that pickleball is really hard on people's bodies. And now that it's getting so popular, he's like, just you wait. In a few years, you're going to be seeing all types of like very serious injuries associated with the game. Would you agree with that? Because I always thought that pickleball was just kind of more of a lackadaisical sport. Like anybody can just go out there and kind of hit around and get some exercise.
Yeah, I think it's a little of both, right? Obviously, there's different levels of competitiveness that you can play at. So if you're just kind of nicely hitting back and forth, anyone could do that. But if you're trying to be competitive and your opponent's making you move back and forth on the court, then that is definitely very stressful, for the knees, the hips. And then the harder you're swinging, trying to slam that ball overhead, that's a lot of torque on the shoulder too. So I do unfortunately see a lot of overuse injuries. Plus, I think pickleball is so addicting. Once you get hooked, you just want to play, 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 play.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
I see a lot of overuse injuries, and then sometimes more serious injuries from pickleball, unfortunately.
Okay, I need your advice because I kind of have a routine where I stretch at home, right? And then because I say, okay, sometimes when I roll up to the court, they're going, Greg, you're in, like immediately. And I don't really have any time to stretch while I'm at the court and I don't want to hold anybody up. So I like, okay, let's go. And I'll hit a couple ground strokes and then start playing a match, right? So what I've learned to do is I stretch at home. But it's still, by the time I stretch, get my bag ready, get in the car, drive to the courts, it's probably a good 20, 30 minutes from the time I stretch to the time I'm actually on the court. Is that stretching at home doing me any good at all?
Um, it kind of depends, right? What kind of stretching. So I usually recommend dynamic stretching before playing pickleball, which involves more movement. Getting the joints moving, getting the muscles moving, versus the static stretching, which is just the kind of common sit, reach, touch your toes kind of stretching. So a more dynamic, because really what you're trying to do is get the heart rate up, increase the tissue temperature so they're more elastic, and reduce your risk of injury there.
So even though I'm sitting in the car for 15, 20 minutes, it's still doing me some good that I did that dynamic stretching earlier?
I would say so, yeah.
Good.
Better than nothing, at least you kind of get the heart rate up. And then when you get to the court, you can maybe just jog to the court or do a little quick jog, get the blood flowing again.
That's beyond me, Dr. Lau.
You're
Jogging?
the
What?
you're
Jogging?
the one who asks for advice and then just goes, yeah, nah.
No, that's
That's
good
okay.
advice. I should jog because there is a little bit of, space between the parking lot or the street where I have to park to the court. So why not, right? Put my little bag on my back and jog for a couple hundred yards. That's a good idea.
That is great. Yeah, we should both be implementing that because I'm scared. I'm, getting up there in age and I don't need any serious injuries.
Bridgie
What?
getting up there in age. Come on.
It's something to consider.
You're in
But
your
what
you're in
kind
your
of
pickleball
injuries?
prime.
Right.
Pickleball prime.
What kind of injuries are we putting ourselves at risk? Like, is it torn ligaments in my knee? Is it shoulder stuff? Like, what could I expect if I'm not doing these types of warm ups?
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't want to scare people and be like, if you don't stretch, then you're gonna, tear something, right?
Yeah,
But
everybody's different.
yeah, but I do like I've seen quite a few Achilles tendon tears,
Oh,
because pickleball, that sudden push off, right, kind of puts a lot of torque and stress on the calf muscle, which is connecting that Achilles tendon to the heel. So that's probably one of the more severe injuries, right? Of course, that could be because the calf's getting too tight, it's overused, it's not strong enough, it's not used to those forces. So that's where like a good strengthening program, I think a lot of people, they play pickleball as their form of exercise, which is great. But if you're trying to be really competitive and play at a high level, then a strengthening program, uh, aside from the pickleball, I think would be really important. That way your body can handle the forces that you're going to put on it on the court.
That is fantastic advice. We got to take a quick break, but when we come back, I want to hear some of those exercises to do either at home or at the gym that would help with that strengthening, that would hopefully, prevent doing, getting any serious injuries and at least reduce the chances. So when we come back, we'll have more with Dr. Taylor Lau, physical therapist with the Orthopedic Rehabilitation Specialists. Stay tuned.
This is Bridgie and Uncle Greg with Third Shot Podcast. PB Army is a new pickleball gear company of 2 Navy veterans.
Their gear is carefully designed to meet the needs of players and is made using top quality materials to enhance your game. One of the products they offer are dinking caps, which are made with durable and hydrophobic materials to prevent water absorption and sweat buildup during a game.
The caps are antimicrobial, ensuring that players can use them confidently without the fear of bacteria or odor. Their dinking caps are built to withstand regular use, even from daily pickleball players. Whether you're playing in a tournament or a rec game with friends, the caps keep them comfortable, dry, and looking great on and off the courts.
As a veteran-owned company, PB Army is committed to providing their customers with the best products possible and take pride in serving the pickleball community. Customers looking for durable and high-quality pickleball gear can rely on this company to meet their needs.
And you can use code THIRDSHOT, that's the number 3, RDSHOT, to receive 10% off your entire purchase. Welcome back to Third Shot Podcast. If you haven't already, check out our website. It's thirdshotpodcast.com. You can listen to all of our previous episodes, and we even have some amazing blog posts written by our Uncle Greg.
Woohoo!
Today we have Dr. Taylor Lau joining us. He's a physical therapist with the Orthopedic Rehabilitation Specialists, and he's a good friend from our undergrad at UNLV. So welcome back. We got our third shot, our third and favorite.
Right.
Yeah, to keeping our bodies healthy. Cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
Cheers.
So before the break, you were mentioning that there's some strengthening exercises that we should all be doing to kind of help us prevent any serious injuries. Like, where do you start? Like, what do you work with your patients on to kind of, get them ready? Do you talk to them about like what their activity level is, how hard they're playing? Like, where does the first, the steps to figuring out what's a good routine for them?
Yeah, I always start with, a thorough physical exam because everybody's body is different. So I want to know, where they're at, what they're capable of doing. And I usually start with a mobility assessment because if their hips or their knees just don't have the mobility to move through certain motions, it doesn't really matter how strong you are because the joint just doesn't have that mobility to get there. So I start with mobility. If there are impairments there, then I'll work with them. We'll do exercises to get that mobility back and then strengthen them in that new range of motion that they have there.
That sounds very thorough, and I think I should be working on that mobility myself. As I mentioned in the previous segment, though, you do have some really awesome videos on Instagram as well as YouTube that kind of help people get some free advice and see what types of exercises they should be doing. Could you walk us through one of those exercises and explain what it benefits for them?
Yeah. So recently I did a video about squatting. And when I watch like a lot of the pro pickleball players play, when they're at the kitchen line, they're pretty much sitting in a squat, knees bent, ready position. They're not standing up tall. And I think a lot of my patients don't realize that, yeah, when you're playing pickleball, you are constantly going up and down, which is basically performing, maybe hundreds of squats. And so I wanted to teach people how to correctly do a squat. And the video kind of starts from real beginner, like if you've never done a squat before, kind of start them off with a half squat from an elevated surface, and then progress them till we're squatting with weights, additional weights, and also adding in like a reactive component where they maybe have to catch a ball or squat and react to something, because pickleball involves a lot of quick reaction. So
Well, I am going to put you on the spot because I have this nagging injury that I have no idea what to do about. It's
okay.
lasted way too long. So anyway, the injury is on my right leg at the very, very top of the thigh, like kind of where the leg starts, right at the crease, right?
Okay.
And it's
Like the
not
hip.
really the groin, it's kind of more towards my waist than the groin, but it hurts all the time when I twist and stuff. While I'm playing, it doesn't bother me. But as soon as I stop playing, it just hurts. When I sleep, it will wake me up in the middle of sleep. When I'm on the couch and I'm just messing around, just kind of moving around, it'll like a shooting pain. I have no idea what this is, but I've tried from massaging it, I've tried stretching it, I've tried different exercises like squats, lunges, try to build up the strength. I have no idea what I've done to it. And I know that
This
if
has
I
been
came
like
to
a
see you in
year.
Hawaii, which is a great excuse to go to Hawaii, you could probably help me out. But just based on what I explained, what do you think it is?
Well, yeah. So from that little brief history, when you're playing on it, you say it feels fine.
Feels fine.
So kind of points me in the direction of a muscular issue, right? Because when it's warm and the muscle's loose, there's no pain. But then you come home, you sit down, kind of cool down, maybe the muscle gets a little bit tight. So based off that, that's where I would start the examination, kind of looking at the muscle tightness, how healthy the muscle tissue is. If it was like a hip joint, then anytime you move that joint a certain way, it would probably bother you, right? But because your symptoms are more intermittent,
Right.
on and off, I would start looking at the muscles. And
So
so
if
sounds
so if
like
it is
we
a
would clear the
muscle
hip
issue,
flexors first.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but if it is a muscle issue, is it more I should stretch or I should, do exercises or both probably, right?
Yeah, I mean, the stretching, so if we stretch the muscle, that kind of just gives you a temporary window, right? So stretching will reduce some of that low level inflammation in the muscle, and it will give you a window where you can do more mobility work or exercises. So sometimes the stretching is just like a temporary fix, and especially if this has been bothering you for, I would say
Months.
over, yeah,
It's been
quite
months,
a
yeah.
while. The stretching will help, but then, yeah, we want to get to the root cause of this. I'm actually doing a video on hip flexor stretching, working on it now. But the tricky part with the hip flexor is it crosses actually 4 different joints. And if we have a mobility issue at any one of those joints, it's going to cause your hip flexor to be tight. So I think that's why people, they stretch their hip flexors, they foam roll them, and it just keeps coming back. Probably because we're not getting to the root cause of why it's tight in the first place.
You hear that, Uncle?
I hear
You
you.
gotta
I hear.
you warm up, you gotta stretch, you gotta do all the
I
strength
gotta do
training.
some exercises to kind of build up. Yeah, for sure.
We got to get you to Hawaii, maybe for a tournament, and then we can also do a exam for your hip when you're here.
Now we're talking. And then
Right.
and then we're gonna celebrate our gold medal with some soju shots. We're all, yeah. I
It's
got it
coming
all in my
together.
head. It's all fitting. It's all fitting.
So, Taylor, you had mentioned that in order to kind of increase your performance, there's some strength training that needs to happen off of the court, aside from, practicing your dinking and serving and whatnot. What are some of those strength training exercises that we can be doing to enhance our game?
Yeah. So I started thinking about this just because I wanted to improve my own game. And then I was like, why don't we just make a video? Because maybe there's someone else out there who wants the same things. So when I do the exercises, I kind of start with the general fundamental movements like upper body strengthening, lower body strengthening. But then I think in pickleball, strengthening the core to be able to connect your lower body and upper body, right? When you're kind of taking a big swing, you're not just using all arms, obviously. You want to use the strength from your legs. So a lot of rotational strengthening as well as like explosive movements. So plyometrics, that's going to help give you that pop when you're trying to look for, more power on the pickleball court.
So I use a TRX. Do you use TRX all when you're working with your patients, or not usually?
Sometimes.
That
TRX
doesn't
is
usually
pretty
give me
high
that
level stuff
dynamic,
too.
movements, right? It's more
Yeah.
controlled movements.
It really works the core when you're using that kind of equipment.
Yeah, I kind of like it because my core, as Bridgie will know, needs help. So as you
TRX
get
is tough,
older, the
though.
core, needs a little more focus than it did when I
Oh
was
yeah, TRX
younger.
is really tough. A lot of my patients are not at that level, where they're recovering from an injury, so maybe something not as intense as that, but that's a good exercise to do. And you can do so much with it, TRX.
Yeah.
Yeah, in college, I had this workout buddy, and he was the graduate assistant for fitness. And he made me do TRX. He introduced me to it, and he was like, "Okay, we're gonna do like a plank into a pike, where you're
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
feet are strapped into it,
Yeah.
and then you're holding your feet up, and then you've got to like make your body look like a tent." And oh my gosh, I about lost it. That's the hardest thing ever.
I
But I
do
think,
that one. It's tough. It's tough, but it really
yeah.
helps. That one I love. Yeah.
What kind of strength training exercises for rotational movement would you recommend?
Yeah, I mean, when I work out, I use a medicine ball a lot. So there's one exercise, I'm kind of like in a front lunge position, and you're holding the medicine ball in front of you, and then you kind of control that rotation out towards the back leg, and then I'll come
Mm.
back with the power aspect and I throw the ball. Um, so it kind of works best if you have a partner. Otherwise, you throw it and you got to go walk and get the ball yourself. But if you have a partner, you can practice throwing it back and forth, and it works two things: controlling the rotation of the spine as you go back, and then the power aspect to push forward and project the ball. So that's a good one. I do a lot of cable machine stuff,
Mm.
Pavlov presses where you're holding the cable out in front of you, and that one you're actually resisting the rotation. So the cable wants to twist you, and you have to use your core, your obliques to stabilize that. I hope I'm describing these well. It's easier in a video to understand, I guess.
Well, that actually leads me to my next question. It sounds like you do a lot of help through video. What are the different types of videos that you have available?
Yeah. So again, because I see patients at all levels, so some of the videos are kind of these higher level strengthening videos like this, but I also do videos for office workers. A lot of my patients are office workers, so I've got a video about ergonomics, how to set up your desk and your monitor height so everything can align your spine better. Got a video on lumbar support, how to make your own lumbar support at home, or some options that they can buy online. That way, people with low back pain, their back is not under stress all day when they're sitting at work. Um, and then the first video series I did was actually a shoulder stretching series. And I think it's really important for people who play pickleball to take care of their shoulders, I see a lot of people come in and they don't, a lot of people do the hand across chest shoulder stretch, and like that's about it. Which that stretches one part of the shoulder, but the shoulder is the most mobile joint in your body, and it thrives off of motion. So we need to, make sure we do a lot of stretches to keep it moving well.
That one was really helpful. I think that was the first video that I saw where caught my attention and like, oh my gosh, Taylor plays pickleball and he's got all these great videos. That's really helpful because I do have a lot of shoulder pain as well as elbow pain from playing. And so I'll definitely have to rewatch those and save them. You also did one that I thought was really handy was how to stretch while traveling.
Oh, yeah.
Uncle, you'll have to take a look at that video before you head out to Hawaii because, when you're in those seats, and I just got back from a trip myself, you kind of have to sit funky because you're like avoiding the person next to you, or just because like my feet don't always touch the ground, right? So that one is really awesome too. So for everybody who's listening and wants to go watch these great videos, where can they find them?
Yeah, so you can go to ORS_physical therapy. That's the tag on Instagram. Or on YouTube, if you just type in Orthopedic Rehabilitation Specialists, we should pop up there. Or if not, ors-pt.com is our company website, and then all the links are on that company website.
Well, before I let you go, because I am going to be getting on a plane for 5 hours coming to Hawaii fairly soon, what's one tip you can give me for the plane?
Take a lumbar support with you. Unless you're flying first class, the seats, really put a lot of stress on your back. So a nice lumbar support, I think you'll feel a lot better when you stand up after that long plane ride.
Thank you for that. And thank you for coming on the show with us today.
Oh, thank you so much. Had a great time.
Thanks so much, Taylor. It was good to see you again and good to have you on our show.
Thanks, guys. Hope to be back soon.
Oh, well, I'm going to try to come see you soon.
Yeah, we got to do that. We got to play some pickleball.
Well, for all you listeners, thank you for joining us at Third Shot, where Bridgie and I will continue to share our pickleball journey. A real special thanks to Dr. Lau for joining us today and helping us stay healthy on the court. Check out Taylor at YouTube at ors.pt or on Instagram at ors_physical therapy or on their website ors-pt. You can support this show by subscribing, and we promise to have more amazing guests like Dr. Lau in future episodes. So please, let's continue to share our enjoyment for the game together and grow the pickleball community. See you next time on Third Shot Podcast.